Welcome to Evolution on the Mic. I am your host, Ariana de la Cruz.
And I'm your co-host, Antoine Dove.
And we are back, y'all. Season 9, Prayers That Move, Episode 5, Manifestation Without God versus Manifestation with God. Y'all, in our last episode, we talked about seeking alignment with God before taking action. We discussed why seeking God's direction before making your next move is more important than moving quickly. In that episode, we encourage you to slow down, trust God's timing, and choose obedience over urgency. This was an amazing episode. Y'all. If anybody missed it, I recommend that you go back and watch it because it was very impactful. But on today's episode, we're diving into a powerful conversation about manifestation, but from a different perspective that often gets overlooked. In this episode, we're exploring what it means to partner with God in the process of creating the life you've been praying for. We'll talk about faith, intention, surrender, and how purpose changes the way manifestation actually works. Because when our desires are aligned with God's plan, manifestation stops being about control and becomes about trust. This is going to be a great episode. I am highly looking forward to it. I hope you guys stay locked in and watch all the way to the end. But before we get into all of that, Antoine, how are you? How you've been?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome back to the podcast. We're back at it again.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back here and talking through all of these things that's been coming up. This prayer season has been really speaking a lot to me because I definitely feel like I'm in a season where prayer is so critical to my Christian walk. And I
Yeah.
truly mean that. Like, I feel like I'm in a season right now where there's a lot of waiting, there's a lot of praying. And the prayer to me is my pipeline and connection to God that allows me to keep that conversation going and opens up my heart to hear the things that He's telling me and that I need to do and where I need to move. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. There are days where I'm just like, God, I've had enough. Like I'm done with this. Like I'm done with this waiting game. I'm ready to move on to the next. And it's through the prayers that doing that consistently and being into that has helped me to kind of stay locked in. Because if I didn't, I probably would have just moved on from this for now. But yeah, life's good. Ava's good. Nothing to really complain about. Just continuing to remain faithful, continuing to look for the direction from God for the next steps in my life. I've kind of reached a place now where I'm kind of like, God, I'm ready for what's next. And that's just where I'm at. But I'm grateful to again be able to be here and be spending this time with us together and chatting. And I'm looking for this episode, truly, honestly. But what about you, Adi? What's been up? Like, what's going on? I know you've been working on a new project and learning some new skills. How are those things going for
Yeah,
you?
no, I mean, everything is going good. You know what I mean? I'm still in the learning phase. I'm, being disciplined and dedicated, to learning a new craft. This past week, I couldn't really practice my new skill that I'm learning because unfortunately, I had really, really bad stomach virus this whole past week, which, caused me to just literally just be in bed and, vomiting and all the things that comes with a stomach bug. But it lasted literally all week. I just started feeling better yesterday. But before then, you know what I mean, I'm doing great. I'm doing, improvements every day and in learning, but it takes patience, you know what I mean, to learn a new skill and like master it. Like it takes a while, right? Like
Mhm.
you have to be patient with yourself. You're gonna have good days, like okay, I aced it today, and then you're gonna have another day where it's like I, messed up on something because I wasn't really too sure because, the practice is when things are going to just flow naturally and you're going to come to a place where it's like, oh, I know this like the back of my hand and I'm not there yet. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It took me a while to like get there where it's like I'm okay with the process, but
Mhm.
there's people that has learned the craft that I'm learning and it took them years to get to a place where they've mastered it. So this is something that I'm like, girl, it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be in a couple months, in a couple weeks. It might take you a year. You got to really show, your consistency, your faith through it all and trusting the process. And that's just what I've been doing. You know what I mean? I'm just trusting the process and doing my part, which is being, consistent and obedient, of course, if I'm in good health and I can, yeah, but I've been good other than that, you know what I mean? Still here in Costa Rica, loving it, you know what I mean? I definitely, I'm looking into possibly moving having an apartment, I think, like I said before, in Miami. And, I'm just leaving that in God's
Miami.
hands. Yeah, I'm leaving that in God's hands with the timing of that, because I don't want to rush it. Like, I have the desire, but my desire has to be in alignment and in God's timing. And He needs to lead that for me, right? I would be damned if I'm gonna try to take the rings off of decision making and just doing whatever I want to do. Like I'm good. I've learned my lesson. Like we're gonna talk about today in today's episode, with manifesting without God versus manifesting with God. And they're two different worlds, and they're two totally different energies and feelings and outcomes that can happen in your life, whichever one you're using. So I definitely want to get started on what we're going to be talking about today. I'm really excited about it. But before we do, I just want to like center us, all of us. And I want to, start with an opening prayer just to get us to a place where we're locked in, we're focused, we're grounded, take in this information. So wherever you are right now, if you can just, close your eyes or just tune in to this short prayer just to get us ready to receive the information that we're going to be talking about. Dear God, we come before you with open hearts and open minds. We quiet every other voice so that we can hear yours clearly. Search our hearts, reveal what is not aligned, and gently lead us back to you. We surrender our plans, our timelines, and our need to control outcomes. Teach us how to trust you, not just with our words, but with our lives. Let this conversation draw us closer to you and deepen our faith. We invite your presence into this space. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome. I love that prayer, surrendering our plans, our timeline. Like, let's just surrender it all to Him and be present in this moment. So, I want to acknowledge y'all regarding manifestation that, manifestation has been very popular. Maybe for some of you, you've just learned about manifestation, or there's others of you that have heard about manifestation and read books about the law of attraction and all these things. And maybe we've done vision boards. Maybe you write affirmations and you recite them to yourself, or you do I am statements like I am strong, I am smart, I am rich. Maybe you have all these I am statements. And you've read books about the law of attraction, and this is okay. You know what I mean? Because manifestation and doing all those things, there's nothing wrong with all those things, right? But it's about, are we including God in our manifestation process? Like, is God in the vision board? Is God in those affirmations, right? All those things what we're saying and the things that we're trying to attract, right? Did we put God in it first? Or is it just us thinking that we have to, put in all the work and hustle and work hard to attract all those things that we want, or to believe all those things that we're saying about ourselves? Like, is it just us in that? Right? Manifesting all those things, or do we put God first in that and allow the manifestation come through alignment and trust and faith, right? So that's kind of like what we're going to be talking about. And I just want you guys to know that manifestation isn't something new. So maybe you just heard of it, or maybe today you're like, oh, manifestation, what is that? But it isn't something new. But the way we're doing it today is missing something very important. And I know for me, when I started reading about manifestation and law of attraction, it was probably in like 2011. I think it was a very, very long time ago. I was like maybe I was probably like 19 years old when I started reading things about manifestation, law of attraction. And back then there was something missing, and now more than ever. Like back then, God wasn't really in the picture. It was all about doing a vision board, citing affirmations, and as long as you do that and you believe it, you're gonna achieve it, and you're gonna do that. But God wasn't nowhere near that equation, right? Even in the books that I read. And um they'll talk about the universe and stuff like that, but we're talking about Jesus, right? We're talking about God. Like, it's not about just the universe. And, if you want to, say the universe and God, and, like the universe is God to you, like that's fine. But just understand that the energy and the manifestation of things in our lives, like, comes from God. Like, and that's, my belief, is through Jesus and through God. So back then, that wasn't really something that people's talked about or that I read in books. And, it left me astray. It left like something was missing for a couple years in my life when I was trying to manifest. And, it came with a lot of frustration and anxiety and all these other things. So I just want to say that like something is missing and we're going to really go through that, step by step. Right. So there is this idea, like I was saying, about manifestation without God. And some people manifest some things without God just by pure hustle and using vision boards and affirmations and just that, like through their own strength, right? But then there's this manifestation with God and it feels so much different and it feels so much lighter and it feels so much effortless and there's so much flow and good energies, right, when we're manifesting with God. So do both work? Yeah, they both work, but I want things to work in a flow, right, in alignment, where I know that what I'm manifesting and I know that what I'm doing, God is in it, because then I know it's gonna work in my favor and in my best interest, right? So I just want to be clear, like this isn't about shame or judgment. I don't want to shame nobody because I've been there, done that, right? I've done it the wrong way myself too. It's I just want to bring you guys more to a place of, being in alignment, having peace, and it being sustainable, right? Where you're trying to manifest something and it feels sustainable, like, okay, like I got this and I'm doing this and it feels right and I'm in alignment with what I'm trying to manifest. Okay. And just understand that one way manifesting without God, it leads to striving and anxiety. That's what you're gonna feel. And if you've ever done that, you know what I'm talking about. And I've been there, done that as well. Striving, anxiety, like my own efforts. And it's like I'm blind. I'm just doing things and with no real set purpose. Like, I'm just doing all these things, right? And the other way, when you're doing it with God, it leads to peace, clarity, and favor. Okay. So I hope you guys got that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the difference between manifesting without God and manifestation with God, and not having the pressure on you when you're trying to manifest the things that you want, right? It doesn't have to be through your sheer effort, your sheer willpower. And, it's about partnership, surrender with God, and trusting Him. All right. So the main talking point that we're going to talk about, so there's going to be 3 talking points that I want to like really dive into. And the first one is how manifestation without God is control driven. And I'm sure you can kind of see where that comes from, right? It puts pressure on you. You're manifesting without God, right? If you're putting pressure on yourself, because now God is not in the midst, right? So who's there? It's just you. It's just you, your own efforts, and just everything that you're doing is just to yourself. All right. So the mindset of, if it doesn't happen, I didn't believe hard enough. I have to force, visualize, hustle, repeat. So you're coming from a place of, if things don't start happening, you're gonna blame yourself. You're gonna feel like, well, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe, I didn't try hard enough, and maybe I didn't, work hard enough. Like, you're putting all the blame on yourself. So manifesting without God, you're going to have emotional consequences, right? Like we were saying, you're going to feel anxiety, you're going to have burnout, you're going to fear that you're going to fail, and you're going to feel like a failure. You're going to start comparing yourself to the people, like, look what they have, look what they're doing, look how fast they got there, like, why not me? And you're going to do everything in your power to speed up the process, right? And that's going to cause you to make maybe a wrong turn, right? You're going to end up not in the place that God had you on, right? Maybe you were on the right path, and you were where you needed to go, but then you didn't have God in the picture and you went astray. And when you went astray, now you start relying on yourself. That comes with anxiety, and you start maybe comparing yourself to other people that do have the things that maybe you want, and you start feeling like, that could never be me. I'm never going to get there, right? And it may even make you give up on your dreams, on your desires, right? And we all know, like, God wants the same desires that we want for ourselves. But when we try to take that control and it doesn't work out, we put that all on us. We don't think like, okay, maybe it's not God's timing. We're not thinking, okay, like maybe I just got to have more faith. We're just thinking, it didn't work. I'm not good enough. I'm going to quit. And I know that a lot of us has been in that predicament. And I know for myself, I want to share a story about how, when this something similar happened to me in my life. So this was a couple years ago, maybe like in 2018. I was working with my boss at the time in doing property management and real estate, and I was already with him maybe 2 years at that time. And God had given me, all these dreams, right? Like God was telling me, you know what I mean? Like that I'm gonna have, more than enough in my life. I'm gonna have more than enough money, like more than enough impact, and I'm going to become this amazing big person. And I was at the time in a job that I'm like, God, like, I don't know if I belong here. Like, why am I even doing property management when I got my degree in social work and I want to have impact and I want to do this? And I was grateful for my job at the time because I knew that it served a purpose. But I just thought like I wanted more. And I got in my own way trying to get the more. So at the time, my boss at the time had helped me get my real estate license. And when I got my real estate license, I let that get to my head, I think, because I started to think like, oh, I'm gonna become the best real estate salesperson, and I'm gonna invest in real estate, and I'm gonna learn all I can about real estate. And my boss at the time, he wasn't the perfect mentor. That's what I told myself. He's not the mentor that can help me get to a place where I'm selling real estate, because he was more property manager in real estate where we manage properties. He wasn't so much into selling real estate, even though he's had experiences. That wasn't like his main thing. So I'm like, I need a mentor that's going to teach me how to sell real estate, and I need to be in a better position. And because God told me I'm going to have all this money, and if I can't get it here, then I got to go somewhere to get it. And man, listen, I ended up giving notice in that job because I found another mentor that, was he had like a what was it that is called? Like he had like his own real
Firm.
estate firm. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his own real estate firm that was dedicated to
Mm-hmm.
developing new real estate, agents to learn how to sell real estate. So I'm like, I'm gonna get the right training. Like I met with this guy a few times, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. Like he's gonna teach me, and I'm gonna sell real estate, and then I'm gonna buy real estate, and everything that God told me is gonna happen. Okay. So I even told my boss that, like, I don't think that you're the right mentor for me. Like, I don't think that you could teach me all these things about real estate. And I found, so I'm gonna take my license and I'm gonna put it over there. And yeah, so then I ended up leaving that 9 to 5 in property management, and I ended up going to signed up for this real estate, and I had a few savings. So I was like, I'm gonna be good, if I don't make money right away. And I went there and I met with him and his team a few times, and it was disorganized. And I'm a very organized person. When I learned, it was all over the place. They were just telling me, oh, get your first client and we'll walk you through the process. I'm like, but how am I going to get my own client when I don't even know what I'm doing? How am I going to sell them to want to work with me when I don't even know what I'm doing? But they just kept telling me, nah, this is how it works. Just get your first client and we'll teach you the process. I couldn't work like that. That's not how I learned. When I try to sell a client, is because of knowledge that I have that I can speak of confidently. I know the process like the back of my hand. And that's how clients, to even to this day in business, that's how they want to work with me, because I know what I'm talking about. They weren't trying to show me the ins and outs of the process for me to feel confident in selling a service, right? So I started again. I didn't sell no properties. Like nothing was happening. But at the time, my boss, me and him didn't leave in bad terms. He will still call me, Ariana, how are you? Here and there, he will check in on me. And I was grateful for that. But I didn't understand why that relationship was still there, because I left and I was going to be gone forever. Right. And so I was there maybe like 2 months. And then it was maybe around September, October. And September, October in Florida is usually when the market slows down, meaning that I was still making money doing leasing because I had a real estate license, and my ex-boss had taught me how to rent apartments, because in property management, you do leasing. So I had a skill to rent apartments. So even though I was working with this other real estate, firm, I was still making money by renting apartments, right? And splitting commission with him. So that was keeping me afloat. But then September came and I was like, girl, you already know in October, people are getting ready for the holidays. Like people are not really looking to move, da, 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 da. And there was nobody trying to close with me for rentals. And I was like using my savings, and I started getting anxiety. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I had to swallow a pill and apply for another job and got a 9 to 5 because I was like, this is not working. This isn't going to work. What did I do? And I went and I got me a 9 to 5. You know, it was not even in property management or nothing. It was just whatever I can get. So I was there for like 2 months. I was there the end of October, the whole November, and the whole December. At the end of December, I got a call from my boss, my ex-boss, and he was like crying, and I was like, "What happened?" He was like, "Oh, my father just passed away, and my dog just died like in a brutal car accident the week before, and he was just calling me to just vent." Like, where he was at, and and then he told me that his leasing manager had quit. I don't know if she quit or he fired her. Something happened and she no longer was working there. She was with him 11 years. And he was like, I just wanted to know if you can come and help me out. I just need to lease some apartments. Like, I'm not there to do it. Can you just come and rent apartments for me? So I was like, yeah, sure. But little does anybody know, this is the first time I'm saying this to, to the public. But a day before, he called me asking me for help. I had gotten laid off from that 9 to 5 job. It was the end of the year and they didn't need my position anymore. It wasn't anything I did. He told me, Ariana, I think you're great and I will help you get another job. Like, he did not want to let me go. But he was like, we're ending, is there going to be a new year and we're just changing things and, has nothing to do with you. And the next day he calls me, asking me for help. He didn't know that had happened. He didn't know. So I went into his office the next day. So they told me like to give them like 2 weeks, but I seen an opportunity over here. So I told them, hey, my boss called me. He needs me. Like, I'm going to, meet with him tomorrow. And if he offers me a job, like, I'm not going to be able to give you 2 weeks notice. They're like, that's totally fine. So I went the next day to talk to my boss. And he told me that that he needed help. And then I told him that, that I'm available, that I'm no longer like, doing anything, whatever I was trying to do. I admitted to him that it wasn't working with that other real estate guy. Like, I told him that guy sold me a dream, but it wasn't what it was. It was empty. And, he basically was like, well, we could work something out here because I have this position. And I was like, yes, well, I gotta think about it. But inside I was like, oh my God. Then he gave me a salary with commission and it was better than I've ever experienced, like way more money than I've ever made in my life at that time. And I came back. And I want to say all of that to say that I don't know if you guys know my story, but Harlan, which is my ex-boss, I was with him 8 full years with that couple month break that I left. This man helped create the businesswoman that I am today. God did have a plan for me to be everything that I was going to be and make all this money and be a business owner and being a great entrepreneur. But I thought leaving Harlan and going to this other guy that was going to help me get there, I went on my own strength. I tried to manifest this thing that God told me. I tried to manifest it on my own, and it left me, and it was empty. That side of what I thought, because logically it all made sense. This guy knows what he was doing. He was going to help me become a great real estate agent, and I'm going to have all this money and da 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 da. It was all empty. It went nowhere because it was all me, and all it did was leave me frustrated, lonely, like going broke because I was living off of my savings. My savings was dwindling, and things were just going really, really bad for me. And when I seen that happening, I repented to God, like, God, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did wrong. Like, read, like, help me in this situation. Like, I'm scared. I'm scared I might lose my apartment. I'm scared that, everything that I've worked for thus far, like, things are not going to go work out for me because I try to do it on my own. And God is so amazing and so gracious and so, wonderful to us that he redirects us. And he redirected me back to where I should have never left to begin with. He redirected me back to a place where my growth, where the person that I was going to become, right? The skills that I needed, the tools that I needed for where he was taking me was in that job, was with that person, right? With my boss, Harlan, that, helped shape the businesswoman that I am today because he taught me so much about business, how to run a business, how to manage a business, how to hire people, how to fire people, how to make sure that your business stays afloat, how to make sure that you're always profitable, different ideas about making money, how to be fair in business, how to have integrity in business, always looking at win-win situations, having 6 months of savings in your account, in your business account, to make sure that if things go wrong, you have money to sustain your business for at least 6 months. So things pick back up because, he told me in every business, things happen and you don't always make money. So everything that he taught me, right? Because I was with him 8 years and I went from an office manager to the director of that company. I worked my way up to like every position. I learned everything there is to know about property management. And I could have not been here today had it not been for him. And had it not been for God to redirect me, right? When I got back in alignment with him in the manifestation of who I knew that God told me I was going to be, and me trying to do it on my own, God redirected me and God said, okay, now you know better. Now you know when I have you somewhere and you don't see the immediate results and you don't see how in the world this person is going to get you to your next step and how they're going to, how they're going to help you get to where you need to go. When you don't see that, you got to see me. When you don't know, you have to know that I know. You have to rely on me. You have to stay firm. You got to stay steady. You got to stay faithful. You got to have trust. And that, to me, was the biggest lesson that I have to this day in my life, because little do I know that till this day, whenever I want to make a haste decision on impulse, I'm like, nope, I gotta stay calm and trust and wait, because God didn't tell me nothing. God didn't tell me to move. And I'm more diligent when it comes to that now, because I seen what could have where my life could have went had I continued to rely on myself when I left that job. And I just did whatever I thought I wanted to do because I thought I knew better. And I knew that my logic can get me to the end result. My logic got me nowhere. Just my logic, just me manifesting, just visual vision boards and using I am statements and the law of attraction. Like, I just got to sit here, think about it, and it's going to come to me. No, you got to sit there, pray, and know that through God, it's going to come to you. With God, it's going to come to you. God has to be in it. And I've learned that lesson back then, and I carry it with me every day. Not saying that I'm perfect, and none of us are, but I'm more in tune now to stop when I want to make an impulsive decision to change or to go a different course or to try something. I'm like, God, are you in it? You there? Because if you're not there, I don't want it. I don't care how good it looks. I don't care how amazing that sounds. I don't care how fast the person said they're gonna get me. If you're not in it, I don't want it. Don't even. I'm good. And I've declined a lot of amazing opportunities that sounded amazing because this person is an influencer. They have 100,000, subscribers on YouTube, la, 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 la. And I've said no to a lot of people and opportunities because God told me I'm not there. So if you go, you already know what happened to you that last time when you thought that this person was going to be so amazing to you and put you in a platform. God is like, I'm going to put you on a platform. Right. So, Anton, I don't know if any of that to you resonated or hit home in any shape or form.
Did it? It resonated on so many levels. I mean, I think you brought up so many great points, and what kept sticking out to me in your story and just the part you was talking about in the beginning about manifestation without God is that when we're manifesting things without God, the focus is 100% on us. It's all about me, 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 me. What's in it for me? This is what I'm going to get out of it. And I think that's a good sign when you're thinking about manifestation to start. If you feel like everything you're talking is all towards you and what you're going to get out and what you're going to gain, I would start to question, like, is God really in this, or is this just my ego? And that's where I've seen in my life as well. Like, God has put visions in my life of what the direction he's going to take me and the things he's going to bring to me, but in his own time, in his own volition. It's not about when I'm ready to make that move. It's about when he feels I'm ready, and he will nudge me. He will tell me, he will show me. But until that time, all he's asking me to do is be patient and to wait and remain faithful. And when you start to put you above the mission of what God has called you to do, then you start to go off on your own path. And that's when things start to go haywire. That's when things start, you like, God, what's happening? I thought we said this was going to happen. Why now am I in this whole different place? Why is my finances struggling? Why is it? Well, probably because you're moving in a way in which God has not called you to move. And so, no, I'm glad you said that, because that was my big takeaway, is that when I start to feel like the things I'm focusing on are all about me, and I'm doing this comparison game of like, well, I need to do this because this is what God showed me, and this is what this person has, and I want to get this thing they have too, and this person has this, and I want this, and I want, and it's I, me. God's not there. He's just not in it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I love that, about God, that at the end of the day, you can try to do things on your own, and that's gonna come with, the frustration, the hustle, the bustle, the you trying to get everything. But he's also a God that's very graceful. He's gonna do his best to redirect you when you're ready. He's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna redirect you forcefully either, right? And I just want everybody to hear that if you right now feel like you went off course, and maybe you feel like you went so off course that there's no way to go back to where you were or how to move forward, just know that if you go back and you pray to God and you ask him to help redirect you, he will. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you that he will redirect you. He will bring you back. And it might take some time, right? If you went astray, far enough, it might take some time, but that's okay. Because at least you know that now the path that you're going on is going to be the path that's going to lead you where you want to go, lead you to the better path, lead you to a path of peace and clarity, right? Instead of, fear and anxiety and feeling like you're just not enough and you're never going to get anywhere, right? So that's, one of the things that I will say that I love and honor about God and who he is, is that redirection and him always willing to meet us where we're at and say, I got you. You ready now? And the lesson that we take from that is, now I know better for the next time. That is something that for me is huge. Is like, I know better for next time, girl. We're not doing nothing without God anymore.
Fact.
Okay.